Hi, kids. Welcome to the Late Night Picture Show. I'm your host, Murph the Clown. So before we get started, I bought this big bottle of sherry to cook some steak and mushrooms. And now I got to drink the rest of it before it goes bad. Mix that with a little sweet vermouth and some orange bitters. It's the Revenge of Frankenstein. Hammer horror. What do we got here? A living corpse walks the night. Now, I've seen this one a couple of times, including just maybe 2 weeks ago. I watched it again with Charlie. It's a little late for him to be recording, or maybe he would have joined me. His drink of preference is chocolate milk. Too fattening for this old clown. Revenge of Frankenstein is a 1958 Hammer film, directed by Terence Fisher, and starring Peter Cushing. I think he was the only big star in this one. Well, this Dr. Victor Stein, he works in a local hospital. Sick ward? I don't know. Just a big room full of sick people all together. I guess at the time, at night, he moonlights up in the attic, sewing together dead bodies and reanimating body parts. Now you'll see in my ad that I was making fun of this fish tank with a couple of eyes in it. So he has reanimated a pair of eyes just floating in a fish tank. I think there might be some wires or something on them. But there's no brain to process an image. And there's no ocular muscles to move eyes around. Yet, the eyes in the fish tank follow him around the room. Science. Well, as it turns out, and you probably guessed by now, this is the same kind of thing that Victor Frankenstein had done years before. 3 years prior, it says here. We all know how that went. Well, this time Victor, he's going to use a live brain instead of a brain in a jar that's already in formaldehyde. Kind of rubbery. How's that going to work? And his assistant, Carl, who's a little bit hobbled up, gimpy, we used to say, has volunteered to put his brain in a perfect body that Dr. Stein is sewing together. Well, along the way, this fanboy breaks in, talking about how he loves his work, etc. And so Dr. Stein kind of takes him on as well as kind of an intern, maybe. And this intern helps with the surgery. They transplant Carl's brain in this body that he's created out of various corpses. Now hold on. Maybe it's just good writing, storytelling, I don't know, but wouldn't it make more sense to dig up a nice fresh body that's ready to go? Just put the brain in it and reanimate it? Why we got to stitch together 50 different guys? We're trying to build like Arnold Schwarzenegger or something? I said hodgepodge. A hodgepodge of body parts. Anyway, as you can imagine, things don't go as planned. Carl wakes up in his new body, and after the mistreatment he's suffered at the hands of Dr. Stein, he works a lovely young nurse to get his way out of there. And guess what? He's not happy. Okay, here's my original take. This was one long, boring picture. It took me 3 nights to watch it the first go around. I had it recorded there on the on demand. So there are some great Hammer horror films out there. Great horror films, especially the remakes of the Universal classics. And this was along those lines, but yeah, this was far from great. And even after watching it again, it maybe wasn't quite as bad as I remember the first time. But it definitely wasn't the best. So I'm going to give Revenge of Frankenstein 2 rings. It's a 2-ring circus here on the Late Night Picture Show. That was kind of a short one. I didn't have a lot to say there. Good thing I can run my mouth for hours. Maybe not. Be sure and stick around. Part 2 of our Frankenstein double feature is up next. And it is Lady Frankenstein. See you in a few minutes, kids.